Joining me now is Kenneth MacLeod, President and CEO at Sonoro Gold. Always good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Mark. It's always great to see you.
Now, your environmental permit for your Cerro Caliche project in Mexico has been held up amid the transition from the former president, AMLO, we're not going to say his whole full name, to the new president, Sheinbaum. But you were just telling me a little while ago that things seem to be progressing and they're looking a little bit more positive. Could you update us there?
Much more positive. There's been a sea change now over the past 2 weeks. In the old administration under AMLO, the idea of banning open pit mining in the future was one of their priorities. And in fact, they had a 100-point, let me call it a manifesto for lack of a better term, but it was a 100-point pledge that point number, I believe it was 87, was the banning of future open pit mines. Now, when President Sheinbaum took over on October the 1st, she released an updated 100-point pledge. And guess what? The issue of open pit mining is gone. It has been removed, and to all intents and purposes, it's a dead issue. We don't believe that there's any likelihood now of any future ban on open pit mining. And a lot of the issues surrounding the ban on open pit mining could hinge as well on the fact the Mexican economy needs mining, desperately needs mining in order to recover from the excesses of the AMLO years.
Right. Well, you've said that 8% of the country's economy is mining, essentially, GDP, and that 70% of the mining is open pit. So you're expecting a pragmatic, logical approach from Sheinbaum?
Absolutely. Yeah. We believe that the pent-up demand for permitting, there's going to be a rush of Canadian mining companies and Mexican mining companies to get their approval. We've been waiting for 2 years. We've gone through the process, the review process, and we expected to get the permit 2 years ago. And if that had happened, we'd have been in production a year ago and taking advantage of the high gold prices. But unfortunately, it didn't come to pass. And now we believe over the coming months, and I can't tell you exactly when, but over the coming months that we should be able to receive the permit to build a mine.
Right, because in previous conversations we know that Sonoro was near-term production. You still are, but then you had that obstacle there. You've also said that in the meantime, while this is going on, you're considering and moving ahead with some drilling and assessing the potential for underground mining. Is that as likely now or less so?
The necessity for that has been removed, essentially. We've always maintained that there's a great potential for an underground mine there. And the idea was that we would drill and prove up the open pit potential first. And we've done that admirably. We have just under 500,000 ounces in the pit shells as they stand today, with a potential for another 285,000 ounces surrounding pit shells. Now, we also believe that less than 30% of the known mineralized zones have been drilled and assayed to date. So a further 70% should yield a significant bump up in the size of the resource. And as far as the grade is concerned, we know areas that have significantly higher grade and other parts of the concession as well. And we'll focus on those. And those higher grade zones do have the potential for going deeper. So the potential in these areas, therefore, is that we should investigate in due course. But we want to do that out of cash flow. We want to get the mine into production, generate cash flow, and use that cash flow to delve deeper into the resource at depth.
Right, and that's part of the starting small strategy that you've talked about before. So let's assume you get the permit in 2 or 3 months. What does project financing look like, and what's the timeline for production? Because you did say we could have been in production about a year ago.
Yes. The capital costs right now, as we show them, are $15.5 million US, and the OPEX is another $15.5 million, the sustaining capital over the life of the mine. It's currently estimated on the basis of 12,000 tons a day, gives us a 9-year life of mine. And the first 2 years will have significantly higher grade than the average over the life of the mine. So it behooves us to go in there and do some additional drilling once we develop cash flow, because we want to expand upon these high-grade zones that we've outlined. And so with 12,000 tons a day initially, we fully expect to produce 33,000 ounces a year over that 9-year life of mine. But once again, That is a short-lived 33,000 ounces. We believe that we should be able to increase that within the first 2 to 3 years of drilling and be able to hopefully expand the mine way beyond the 33,000 ounces a year.
Lastly, Kenneth, we have this bullish gold environment. You've had this temporary setback. How is the market perceiving the story, and what are you telling people at events like this that, hey, everything's fine, we're moving forward?
Well, we did over the past couple of years. It's been tough. We're waiting for the environmental permit. And so over the past year, especially when the idea was floated by AMLO about banning future open pit mines, the fact that we already have submitted the permit application to SEMARNAT, we've gone through the review process, we're therefore grandfathered as far as the law was concerned. That did not ring true with the marketplace, and so people looked at it and said, no more open pit mining, therefore the share price was hammered down to an all-time low. But since President Sheinbaum came into power, we've doubled in price effectively. We've gone from a low of 4 cents, we're trading at 8 cents now. We have a long way to go to achieve our all-time high of 40 cents a few years ago, 3 years ago. But eventually, with a lot of hard work, we should be able to get there eventually.
Thanks for the update, Kenneth.
Thank you very much.
All right, great stuff as always. Kenneth MacLeod, CEO of Sonoro Gold.